Hi guys, this is Melissa with Practically Creative. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. We're going to be doing some applique work today, and this is what I'm going to make. This is a picture I found on the internet. I don't even know who it belongs to, unfortunately. If I do find that, I'll put it in the description. But I'm going to recreate it, and I've done it once. These are going to end up being an Easter tote bag for me. I'm going to actually give it to someone, but I'm making it. So I'm going to recreate this pattern today on another piece of fabric. And I am making sure that my front piece of fabric for my tote bag and my back piece of fabric match each other. And I'm not worrying about whether the side panels are the same background fabric. That's not even high on my priority list. What I do have is a cut list that I have created of my own for this item, and I'm going to make a replica of this wagon. First thing that I need in order to do it is a piece of fabric that is 2.5 inches by 7.5 inches. And I'm working out of my scrap bin today. So this is a 2.5 inch piece of fabric that I had left over. I'm going to go ahead and cut that to 7.5 inches for this. So I've got my rotary cutter and my ruler down here. And we're going to line it up and we're going to cut it. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do applique. You can do it by gluing things down. You can do it by using heat and bond. All I'm doing here to start with is I'm just laying everything out on my piece of fabric. And there's the 2.5 inch piece. I'm going to put a couple of pins in there just so that it stays close to where I want it to be. And most of this is probably just going to be pinned in. So there's 2 pins to hold down my wagon bed. And then I need 2 circles that are 2.25 inches. I'm going to go over here into my 2.5 inch bin and pull out 2 2.5 inch squares. As you know, I keep that in my scrap bin. And in order to make my circles, I'm just going to fold my 2.5 inch squares on the diagonal and on the diagonal. And then I'm going to make curves. Just using my scissors to do it. You could, if you want, print out a 2.5 inch circle and use that to make yours. It's up to you. But here's my 2 little circles. They're kind of oval-y, but I don't mind. And I'm going to put them on my wagon. And I'm just going to put a pin in them so that they'll stay where I want them. You could do this idea with any picture that you wanted. Or you can take a picture of mine and do it that way. I really don't mind if you do. Now I need 5 ovals, and I've cut out an oval shape. And I am going to make my 5 ovals 5 different colors. Back to our scrappy stuff. I don't want light blue because I've got blue on there. So I have purple, I have blue, I have white. So I'm going to make 2 purple, 2 blue, and a white for these. If you wanted exact science, I'm not the exact science girl. I just like to do things with scraps. So there's a fold over for the purple, and then I'll put a square of the white in here. And I'm not super organized with my scraps. I just do what I like. That's the beauty of scrap sewing and improvisational piecing, or whatever you want to call it. So now that I've got my 5 pieces of fabric for my 5 eggs, I'm going to pin my little scrap egg pattern onto here. And there's everything pinned together. I've made sure that all my fabric is flat. And now I'm going to use my scissors to cut this out. Now, I have a Cricut and a Brothers Scan and Cut. I thought about programming these into it to make this, and I just didn't want to do it. Probably has these shapes in there, and it could have just cut them out from there. But I like the idea of doing it this way. Okay, so there's my 5 eggs. Here's my scrap that goes in my trash can. And then I need 2 more pieces. I need a wagon handle that's 1 1/4 inch by 3 1/4 inches. So here we go, or by 3/4 of an inch, sorry. I'm just going to cut an end off of that 2 1/2 inch piece, and I'm going to use it over here as my wagon handle. And then I do have, for all of this, it's just mostly my own little way of doing this. But I do the very last piece of this. I have my wagon handle traced out onto heat and bond. And I'm going to iron that onto the back of this scrap of fabric. And then cut it out so that I can put that on there and it will stay. So we're going to give it a second to cool. And then I'm going to cut that out. Once again, just using my scissors to cut it out really quick. This is a fast project, so I don't want to make anything that's, crazy. And then I'm just going to fold over in that center, and I'm going to cut out my little oval in the center. And none of this has to be exact, because this is definitely all improv piecing. So now I have my little wagon handle piece, and I'm going to peel the fabric off of the back. And I'm just going to apply a little tiny bit of heat. So that this stays right where I want it. The only reason I'm applying heat to that is just so that I don't have to fiddle with trying to put a pin in that tiny piece while I'm sewing all of this. So here we are so far. We have our wagon handle and its little shaft. We've got the wagon and the wheels, and now we're going to pin our eggs on here. Because of course, since it's Easter, this wagon is hauling Easter eggs. And you could use prints for this. It would be really cute. I'm not using prints because I want to do a little bit of using my pretty stitches. You know, all those decorative stitches that you have on your sewing machine make great stitches to decorate these Easter eggs. And I'm just arranging the eggs how I want them right now. I want them to look like they've been piled up here. Now this is really cute. This fabric has a front side and a back side, and I like both sides. I think I'm going to use the front side of that. Okay, so now that we have everything on here, I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine, and I am going to machine applique around all of my pieces. So here is our block that's completed. And now we've reached the frequently asked questions portion of the broadcast. I'm going to try to answer the questions I anticipate you have more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. On my channel, excuse me, on my channel, all comments are held for review, only because I have a lot of kids that come on here, and I want to make sure that they're safe so they can ask me a question and then I can answer it in the description box. I don't want people being directed to a kid's channel. But if you have questions, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer them. First, I did not use heat and bond glue or anything else on the back of these. I pinned the items, the applique pieces, to my background fabric. Why did I do that? Because a lot of people can't afford heat and bond or glue for the back of this, or they live in places where this stuff isn't available, like Indonesia, that kind of thing. And I want to make sure that anybody can make this if they want to. That's also why I didn't use a commercial pattern. You can use any kind of pattern you like, any coloring page, anything you draw. Use your imagination. Come up with something new and different. Did I use stabilizer? I did not use stabilizer on this. My zigzag stitch is not a satin stitch. I did not do a satin stitch. I just did a zigzag. And I don't think that the lack of stabilizer has hurt it at all, especially by the time you layer the handle and the eggs and the wagon and the wheels all together. All my fabrics are cotton. My fabrics are cotton except for this one. That shamrock fabric is a cotton and polyester blend. Shamrocks aren't traditionally Easter, but I was really looking for green. And I know shamrocks are traditionally for St. Patrick's Day, but I liked this. And this one was another one of those fabrics out of that shamrock pattern that I used. And I gave those wheels center hubs, but I didn't really want to put center hubs on this one. So these are going to go into another project that I'm working on. So stay tuned for the Easter tote. I'm going to make a tote bag with these. So that video will go up in the next couple of days. It will definitely be up before Easter, but I wanted to get the applique up for you guys first because this is going to take longer than making the tote. And I wanted to give you an idea to use yourself if you're wanting to have a handmade Easter this year. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Melissa with Practically Creative. Have a great day.